Alright, grown black folks talk. I'm making this video about 10 minutes after the other one because I realized that those trees you see behind me in the sunshine are lily-pilly trees. So I took my freedom, so this is about freedom, the undiscovered country, to go and pick some lily-pillies and eat them. They are in the family of rose apples. Family Sissy Jim. Shout out to Beard Fruit Explorer, also now known as Beard Explorer, for doing the entire show. They're from down under, in Australia and New Zealand. And in the summertime here, they give very interesting, tart, sweet food. It's hard to describe the flavor of it, except that I have freedom to go pick them, so I did. And in the meantime, while I was doing that, I saw a very beautiful woman in a beautiful red sundress who was on a coach just walking in the park like myself. And a man who, of a type we are not going to center, got up and just attacked her for just a minute. So here I am with my hiking poles hustling. Turned out she was all right. Other men we are not going to center went to her rescue. And we have freedom to let that be the end of our comment. It just so happened that it's happening live and on location here at the park. As I said to Richard, I carry these hiker poles for a few purposes. I can't run all that well, so I'm going to have to jack it. Kind of is what it is. But I have freedom to defend myself. And this is the thing about this video. It's not the way I intended to talk about it, but freedom, the undiscovered country. Now, that phrase comes from, the way I'm using it comes from Star Trek 6, where Captain Kirk, on his last motion picture outing, says about fighting with Klingons, peace, friendship, the undiscovered country. He basically said, we don't know how to do that. We have to learn it from scratch. Now, given who Captain Kirk represents in this society and the civilization he actually represents, and the civilization Gene Roddenberry was writing out of, this is actually a good take. A big admission from Eurocentric societies that peace and friendship with other people who are different is the undiscovered country. For us, as black people, we have to look at, even though we arrived in freedom, at least theoretically, 157 years ago yesterday, a lot of us think freedom is the freedom to just chase the American dream like everybody else who can't seem to get there from a position of not having money already. When you take a journey that is a scam, you don't be surprised when you have scamming outcomes, even if you get there. Because what happens is you're not equipped properly to be able to do it. Stories are repeat of people of all races who become rich and become poor because the foundation is not there. So you get there, you lose it, you drop back in poverty. Stories are endless. It's not unique to the black community. Let's say you keep it. You worry forever and a day about losing it. That's not freedom either. We live in fear. Don't think that slave owners didn't live in fear now. Don't be deceived. Don't get it twisted. Oh, they lived in fear every day. You have the Second Amendment. Because a group of those Virginia slave owners came to their friend James Madison, who also was one that said we need to be able to have a well-regulated militia at all times because there may be slave revolts. How serious was this? When John Brown did his slave revolt, the Virginia State Militia, led by future Confederate General Robert E. Lee, who at that time was a colonel in the U.S. Army, was what people that put it down. Lee was there at that time fighting for slavery against John Brown. 59, either 59. So, having a whole bunch of stuff and being constantly terrified, that's not freedom either. And this is why I say, I'm going to try to let this bug be free from me trying to kill it for just existing. Hey, y'all. We haven't really sat down and thought about as black people what that's going to look like. Have you sat down and thought about it for yourself? Because there is no peace without freedom. If you look at it in the black context, there ain't no such creature as that. Even if we're describing spiritual freedom, when our ancestors sat down and thought about their experiences and were able to make a song. They were able to have a level of spiritual and emotional freedom. They made space for themselves with their song. There is a balm in Gilead to make the wounded whole. There is a balm in Gilead to heal the sin-sick soul. Now, whether your soul was sick because of what you did or the sins of others near you, there was freedom in that moment to create. There was freedom to make peace. But there had to be freedom first. But what does that look like to you? Do you know? That's why I say, for many of us, it's the undiscovered country. There's no way for me to understand, as I was talking to this black elder sister yesterday, there's no way for me to understand what makes freedom for you entirely. I mean, it's good not to be in slavery. There's some general things. It's good not to be under Jim Crow. I would say a next step is learning how to make types of income that don't depend on you being inside all day. Working for someone else is good. It's too bright. I can't see what time it is. I know it's about 2-something. It's not 5 o'clock. It's not 6 o'clock. This is also going to be helpful if you want to come out in the sunshine, eat lily pillows, and get into fights with your hiking poles because you see someone else being attacked at 2-something in the afternoon. You can do it. I didn't actually make it over there. I'm not fast. Only if he had persisted would I would have gone over there with my hiking poles and done what I could. But it would take a long time for me to get there. The point is, I was here to witness it. I was here to meet with neighbors. And I was here to talk about what happened in the middle of the afternoon. So that's one thing. I will put some content creators in the chat. Stephanie Perry has a wonderful video about location-independent jobs for black women. And then there's also, if you don't need to be as independent, but you're interested in work from home, I've discovered an account called Boss From Home. And she posts up work from home opportunities that are definitely competitive with what people are making going to work right now, because so much work has come from home. I'm kind of looking around there for something part-time right now, since I have had 3 it's been kind of rough. There's a recession going on. There's a whole bunch of stuff jammed up, falling through, return to sender. I mean, it's been crazy last 5, 6, 7 days. But I'm also going to reach out and make connects with other people that I worked with before, see if there's anything I can do for them to negotiate a price. Freedom to be able to choose how you're going to work. And then because I made good investments last year, I'm not having to struggle as hard to worry about, here's what I got to do. Also, my website is finished. I told y'all about Mr. Tall, Dark, and Handsome Size Pete. He's done a wonderful job. I need to look over it, improve it, ask for one last piece of advice, and get started on that. It's going to be my summer project as well. But I have freedom to be able to do that. Let's start there. Freedom to choose your company. I talked last time, and I didn't cover this entirely, but having the humility of knowing that you have to do your work on yourself, there's another piece of that. You can't change anyone. We're grown, right? Can't change anyone. You have to have, I was talking to my friend about this last night, about the freedom to let people live. Meaning acknowledging that they're going to do what they're going to do, and they're going to be who they're going to be, and loving them from a distance if it becomes harmful to you. That is a freedom. The freedom to set your own boundaries. Our ancestors and elders who lived under slavery and Jim Crow, they didn't have that freedom. We do. To the extent that we have to work in concert with others. And this could be community work. This could be a 9 to 5, an 8 to 11. I used to work swing, so it was 3 to 11 or 12 to 8. So I've done 9 to 5s and 3 to 11s. To the extent that we have to be in concert with others, we sometimes have to work with people who are toxic. But the idea about being around people who are toxic is plan your exit. There's so much opportunity out there, even in a recession that's coming. Don't get me wrong, it's not going to be pretty for a lot of us, because a lot of us were not prepared. I have to make slightly different business decisions as well going forward, just because the situations have changed. But here's the deal, y'all. If you're not prepared, get prepared. You have the freedom to do that. You're sitting here on this internet listening to me. Go find out about whatever kind of capitalist endeavor you want to do and find people that are doing it well. Don't listen to people that sell you. No, correction. You have the freedom to listen to people that sell you hype and dreams. My suggestion would be exercise your freedom to live to people to give you details on how to do what they are doing and show receipts. So that's your capitalist life. As a Christian, I can sit up here and talk about, even though sin still occurs and sometimes I commit it, freedom from being enslaved to sin and having no choice is gone because the Holy Spirit lives on the inside. And all I have to do is choose to walk in His power. And I do not have to do everything that comes to mind. I can't tell y'all how many letters have not been sent and how many cases I have not caught in 41 years because of this. I have a temper like everybody else. I have limits like everybody else. But the freedom to not have to act on your worst instincts is valuable. Now, I realize there are other spiritual traditions, but I'm not called, nor am I competent, and I'm not like forbidden to recommend them. So I can't go there. I can tell you about having the indwelling Holy Spirit, having spiritual freedom, having the emotional freedom to set boundaries and walk away from what does not serve you, having the freedom to continue to love, even though you cannot always continue to be in community. All of these things are meant to be explored. Freedom is the undiscovered country. Physically, 157 years ago today, we made it as a people. Now, if you go back and read your history, you're going to find out some very interesting things about how certain sovereign nations were allowed to hold on to and certain states were allowed to hold on to their slaves until 1866. And in a few pockets where slaves were very young and had no way of knowing, the Union had to get some bounty hunters to go in and pull out some slaves in 1867. And if you keep on reading, you find out that slavery changed form. 5 million adult black individuals have been or are in America's lingering form of slavery since December of 1865. Because the Second Amendment, the 13th Amendment defines slavery as abolished in all United States territories except if you happen to be imprisoned on a felony. Slavery never quite went away. But the old form we celebrate on Juneteenth as an institution did. And ever since then, it's been a very long mopping up process that's not done. All that said, since enslavement, and then, you have to look at also sexual trafficking has never stopped. So it's just different forms. But since there are still different forms of slavery operating, it also means that there's not just one way to freedom and there's just not one thing to be free from. Things to think about. Everybody got to define it for yourself, and I'm interested in those conversations. If you want to talk about this in the comments, I'll, of course, be willing to entertain those conversations. But whatever it is, it's like when the children of Israel got to the promised land in the Bible, the Lord said, okay, you're here now, but there remains very much land to be conquered. And after Joshua, in the book of Joshua, had gotten old, he said, you are now old and well-stricken in years. It's not going to be just your generation. There's still very much land to be conquered. Freedom is the undiscovered country for black people. There remains very much area for us to explore and make our own. I encourage you. 157 years and one day after June 19th, 1865. And as we go into what I pray will be a peaceful summer. Although, given the way things are. But then again, peace is what you do with what you wake up. There are a million extra people in San Francisco today. The Warriors. We talked about it. I'm free not to go get involved in the crowd because I don't do crowds. Now, I could be out here in the park and some dumb pop off because that happened. So you have peace not to choose to be in the crowd. You have peace to choose not to be always be in a fight. You have freedom about what kind of fights you choose to be in. Defending another person is a whole situation. But you have freedom to do that or not do that. I saw enough men were going to do their proper job. Hey, let me sit back and just find out what happened and make sure this is okay. And we're done here. peace to sit down and return and do my content for y'all. Go discover what freedom means for you. Decenter every conversation that does not tend toward that in your life. Or not, because you're free to try to do two things at the same time if you want to. I just go back to video 1 about how to be able to do it. That's going to get in the way. But, hey, you are free to either discover it or not discover it. I can't actually tell you what to do. But if you do want to make this journey, then you will need to decenter what does not tend toward it. Alright. I think that's probably enough for one day. It's the last day of the spring. I'm gonna do some more walking, a little bit more. I'm gonna head back to the house. It's Monday. Because of the backup for last week, there's things I cannot do today. That means I'm free to get a little extra rest. And so that's what I'm gonna do today. And tomorrow, I have a business conference, so I may not be out with you early. I may come out. I may have time to come out afterwards, but we'll see. But if not, I'll see y'all either. I might do some content tonight for tomorrow. Anyway, I'll see y'all in the next couple of days. And the next time I talk to you, summer is coming tomorrow. And if you live in the southern hemisphere, winter is coming tomorrow. Depends on where you are. You are free to determine your viewpoint. All right, y'all have a good day now. Goodbye.